All right, welcome everybody to our March Lunch and Learn. My name's Olivia. We're just going to start by going around and introducing ourselves, giving a brief introduction of our businesses, why we're here today, before we get into Tira's presentation. So you were all just asking about the TV, the typewriter behind me. Um, I've always loved vintage things. I love typewriters. I just think they're cute and really nostalgic. And I actually got the TV when I left my job in TV news. I used to work for a local television station. And when I left my job, I started my own live stream and podcast about astrology because I'm also an astrologer. And it was called The Spiritual Journalist. So I got this to use in a bunch of my marketing and even on my website, there's like a bunch of vintage TVs and stuff. So that is the story behind the TV, and it's a great conversation piece. And then my partner got me that typewriter because he knows I love vintage stuff, and I also love the color like mint, like that mint blue. So anyway, fun facts about me. Yeah, go ahead.
The phone.
Oh, the phone. I've had this since high school. I'm just like an old soul. I've always been really into like redecorating and in high school I became obsessed with Audrey Hepburn and redecorated my whole bedroom around like an Audrey Hepburn theme. And if you've ever seen the movie Breakfast at Tiffany's where she like pulls the telephone out of the suitcase. So, and we still had a landline at that time at my house. So this was actually like plugged into the landline so it would ring when the phone rang. Now it's not plugged into anything. It's just there for decoration. Yeah, so that's a little fun facts about me and my backdrop. I also run an organization called Goddess Night Out here in the Sacramento area, and we do women's gatherings throughout the month. Our next women's dance we do once a month around the full moon is Friday, March 14th. It's gonna be really fun. And I have a videography, photography, marketing business as well. So I always just say I wear a lot of hats, I do a lot of things. If I don't do it, I probably know someone who does. Let's continue going around. We'll just popcorn style and introduce ourselves, and I will send it to Jennifer next.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jennifer, and I'm part with Made Pro. We're a professional cleaning services. We do residential properties, and we joined NAWBO trying to expand our commercial side of the business. Fun fact about me, I have a 4-year-old. Keeps me busy. I'm currently still in school studying environmental science. And yeah, that's a little bit about myself.
Thank you, Jennifer. And you're currently looking for businesses like that are looking for cleaning services in Placer County, right?
Yes.
Okay, just putting that out there if anybody
Yes.
knows a
Thank you.
business that needs a cleaning service. All right, let's send it to Kelly.
Hi, I'm Kelly Kukas. I'm a physical therapist. So I have a pelvic, a floor physical therapy clinic. We opened in June. And so I treat bowel and bladder and sexual dysfunction. So yeah, that's it. Oh, I guess Tamara, popcorn Tamara.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tama. I am a Medicare agent, so I help people 65 and older get Medigap coverage, and I am also a NAWBO California Director of Membership and NAWBO Sacramento membership coach here. So welcome to the Launch and Learn. So if she out. Oh,
Yeah. Oh, I think you cut out, Tamara, but I'm assuming she was going to say if you want to learn more about NAWBO, you can ask her. I think everybody here is already a member, though. All right. Okay. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce our wonderful speaker today. We have Tara Jarvis here with us. She is a renowned speaker, mentor, and author with a distinguishing career spanning over 30 years in leadership roles. As a life reinvention mentor, she's empowered over 150 women to successfully navigate pivotal career and life transitions, helping them unlock new opportunities, achieving lasting fulfillment, and attaining financial independence. Tira's Presentations are infused with rich expertise and heartfelt empathy. She provides actionable insights and practical strategies that transform obstacles into opportunities for growth. Her proven approach empowers individuals to renew their perspectives and confidently embrace change, allowing them to reinvent their professional journeys. And in her personal life, Tara finds joy in her family, especially her 3 granddaughters, and in her passion for golf. As co-author of Teeing Up for Success, she links golf strategies to enhance business networking and personal development. Her dedication to community leadership is unwavering, exemplified by her work with Stand Up Placer, where she's led impactful initiatives to combat domestic violence, sexual assault, and human trafficking. Whether captivating an audience from the stage or empowering individuals one-on-one, Tara Jarvis embodies the principles she teaches: clarity, confidence, courage, and connection. And she's been a loyal member of NAWBO since 2014, so 10 years now. Thank you for being a member. She shares a special kinship with the organization's mission and its members. She inspires women and girls to lead transformative changes in their lives. And if you haven't been to a networking event before, if you have, you've probably seen Tara. She's all over Sacramento. And today she's going to be sharing her Lunch and Learn presentation. So I'm going to hand it over to you. Please take it away. And yeah, excited to hear what you have to share.
Great introduction and a good portion of what I was going to say, but I won't bother you with that part again. Let me just get this going. So, it was Olivia, right? Is that right?
Yep.
So, I might have a little challenge with chat. If there's, I'm going to be trying to get participation in our little mighty group here. So, and we're small enough that we ought to be able to go at it at a pretty good pace. But I have lots of stuff to share, and I pulled a lot out, and there's more to share. So just know that there'll be opportunity for us to connect, obviously, afterwards. This doesn't have to be an all one conversation or whatever. But I think what's interesting to note is that I do love my life right now. I've reinvented it multiple times, but right now as a business owner. And as Olivia said, I've been doing this now for 10 years, which is incredible. But the biggest joy that I get is that I get to choose what projects I want to work on, and I get to usually work with highly motivated and energized and creative people that are up to things. And that makes it really fun for me. But it wasn't always that way. I come from corporate, and I was what you would call a hyperachiever, and probably had what I would call burnout for a long period of time, which is why I do believe that it's kind of the golden thread that can pass through all of us, which is why that's the topic that I want to talk about today. But I kept feeling like there was something more for me. I was unfulfilled. I didn't recognize that I was burned out, but I knew that something needed to change. And I had an opportunity to retire early. I retired at 47, my first retirement, thinking that I would go into leadership development or do something a little bit different. And as it turned out, things just kind of happen along. You get chosen for things if you're not ready to take intentional action. And then I didn't get a choice. 2 weeks before I left the next job, my husband had a reoccurrence of cancer, and I became his primary caregiver. So you learn about patience and being in the present and all of that. And all of that's really important. But it also had an impact on me in a variety of other ways as well. So he did pass in 2008, so I'm a widow. So that meant another transition that was going to have to be crafted together. But I finally made the decision that I was going to take a leap, and I was going to create this, and that I was going to go into coaching. And that required some things on my behalf, because after my husband's passing, I had inherited his 2 daughters. They'd also lost their mother. So I was a parent now. And I wanted to make sure we got through this loss together. And then it turned into, well, what is it I'm going to do? And it began taking care of myself, my health, taking care of what it was I wanted to do, getting some clarity, figuring out what that was, looking at some of my habits and behaviors that weren't serving me, visualizing what I wanted to do, finding a way to get to where I wanted to go, and then recognizing that I wasn't going to be able to do it alone. So coaching has been a big part of my life. Finding people that could mentor me that had been there before was a big part of it, until I could give that back to other people. So that's what this is all about. That's what I'm all about. And we're going to talk about burnout, because I think it's really key. And you can't do anything with with burnout until you recognize what it is and what it's going to do for you. So, or what it's doing to you. So you can't fix it until you see it and you actually work on it. So that's the hardest part. And so what is it? I mean, we probably all have an idea what it is. So I would ask you, what do you think burnout is? If you want to put it in the chat, I mean, we could raise a hand if somebody wants to share. What does burnout mean to you? Does anybody have something they want to share? Not to be on the spot, but.
Well, burnout to me, it gets to the point where I can't do anything anymore.
Okay.
Or I just lay in bed and then I'm like, okay, I've overdone myself already.
Okay, well, that's a great start because exhaustion and fatigue are a big part of it. You lose motivation, you're irritable sometimes, you're detached, you don't want to be social. Those are the worst things that you can do for yourself. But this burnout is like a wet blanket that lays on top of you that prevents you from doing that. The reverse of that, sometimes you'll overcommit and you'll get yourself into a situation where you just add more stress to yourself. So you're going to feel drained. You're going to feel that you're struggling. You're going to get in the way. And it happens to all of us. And it happens throughout time for sure. But I think what I want to just wrap this with is that it not only drains your energy, it costs you everything. It depletes your energy. It depletes your vitality, blocks creativity and clear thinking. I mean, you can't even get yourself out of it. That's why it always feels like you're stuck. And thank you for sharing that, Jennifer. That was great. It weakens your resilience, so you're not going to bounce back from challenges as well. So it's going to cause you to not take on new challenges. And it wastes your most valuable resources, which is time, energy, and money for sure. So the interesting thing is that, oops, sorry, I went too far. This is the one I want to see. So we're all going to experience it unless we do some conscious things to not have it happen to us. And some of the reasons that it happens to us is, first of all, the culture that we live in, it rewards people for the hustle culture and for balls out and for going after it. And you have to be strong enough to stand up to that, right? So that happens. Then we're enculturated into that culture, and you want to be part of it and you want to be successful because you're using extrinsic motivators or things outside yourself rather than listening to what your instincts are telling you or what your intuition is telling you. You're being motivated by the next client or the next promotion or the next reward or recognition, or something outside of yourself is triggering you. And that becomes part of inherited ways of being and doing. And what I noticed for myself is even when I left corporate, I vowed to not do that again. But in the early stages of my business, I was still doing it all over again, because you have to take really conscious action to make sure that those old habits are replaced with new habits that are healthier for you and that you're strong enough to stand up to it for sure. So the cost analysis, it helps health, happiness. It's going to affect your career growth. You push to exhaustion, like you mentioned, and it's going to cost you 5 years later because it's chronic. It will eventually, they say that if you have an urgent health thing, you'll go to the doctor. But if you have a chronic one, you don't even know that it's going on until it becomes so debilitating that you can't get free of it for sure. So just right now, just write down on a piece of paper or in your head, just what are your top 3 sources right now of stress? And you all probably heard the quote, you can't pour from an empty cup or put the oxygen mask on you first. You can't do anything for yourself or your families or other people unless you take care of yourself. So does anybody have something they might want to share about a source of stress right now?
I'll
Work.
just share. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Tamara.
Trying to work. It can be family too. Sometimes what's going on in the current political sphere affect my job, so it's really stressful at my office.
Do that. You don't know what's going to happen here. So that's uncertainty will definitely cause that. How about you, Olivia? What were you thinking?
Yeah, I was gonna say just the state of the world. And I always remind myself that we are living in a time where we have way more access to information than any previous generation. But I've just been feeling a lot lately like I'm not doing enough, or like feeling almost like guilt, of just like, I should be doing more, but then I'm also running multiple businesses and trying to just keep myself afloat at the same time. So that's been my biggest stressor.
Well, I think especially with uncertainty, you want to remember that you can only control what you can control. And there's a self-coaching model that kind of helps. So whatever circumstance you're looking at, you don't have any control over the circumstance. You have a control over your view of it, how you see it, and how you respond to it, right? And the action that results out of that circumstance is a formula, right? It's going to include your thoughts, your emotions, then your actions, and then your results. So you always want to remember your thoughts drive your feelings choose the action for you, basically, and your actions are going to cause your results. So when you look at that little timeline and you see something that's a result that's not what you want, you go back to, well, what was I thinking about it? What was I thinking about it? Because if you can change the thought, now you can change how you feel about it. But just remember, circumstances, we don't have any control over that, just how we respond to it and how we see it. But we have control over the actions that we take, right? So I think that is a healthy model that can help you kind of get out of it a little bit. I just want you to know that it's not forever. It's not something that has to be that way forever. And let me just make sure I get to the right spot.
Yeah, and Kelly also said in the chat, because I know a lot of times presenters can't see the chat, she said, not enough time to complete everything I need and want to.
Okay. So, I mean, Kelly, what I would suggest there, and let me just, before I go to this particular slide, let me just tell you that there's a couple things going on there that become habitual. One of the coaching terms is called tolerations. And when you kind of become codependent with this state, you tolerate it like there's no choice in it. That's the way you're viewing the circumstance. I can't change it. And then there's other things that we call saboteurs. So what I'm offering you guys, if you want, we'll figure out a way that I can get it to you. If you haven't already done it, there's a free self-sabotage assessment that is really powerful. And the thing about saboteurs is that this gentleman, he's a Stanford professor named Shirzad, his last name is escaping me. He wrote a book called Positive Intelligence. He basically says these self-saboteurs developed before we were 5. And they were survival skills for a 5-year-old in the adult world. And what's happened is we continue to carry those forward and they become very, very developed muscles. And you have to consciously do things to shape that. The reason that I mention that, and I'm not saying this is true for you, Kelly, but if that's true, we have to look at how else can I get this done without me doing it? How else can I get this done in a shorter period of time? And if you have the saboteur of stickler, which is perfectionist, and you can only do it one way, and it's one way, and it's going to take all this time, it's going to take you down. And so the saboteur, as well as the burnout, both become saboteurs if we don't find a way to manage those a little bit differently. I think the other thing about the saboteurs, not only that they've developed, is that it's actually a brain science. You have to develop a new habit about how you view things so that you can shift that. And whatever you know about left brain and right brain, habits and habitual thinking are going on the left side of your brain, and you've got to get to the right side of your brain. The right side is where creativity is, where curiosity is, where alternate solutions might be. And you want to ask yourself 2 questions when you kind of get stuck is what's really needed right now? And I really think the other one that's really powerful is how else can I get this done without me doing it? It's going to advocate for the delegation. But don't get me wrong, I'm sharing things with you right now that you probably could read in a book or whatever. The changing of behavior is not easy. You have to do little baby steps. You have to acknowledge the little wins. You got to recognize that you're human and it's not going to go well all the time. And so you have to be in this cycle where you're willing to experiment and try new things and do new things, whether it's doing away with burnout or changing the way you're managing your schedule or walking more. I mean, everything. They're all going to take something, right? but it doesn't have to be that way all the time, right? There's a way to get out of it. And this quote right here is a quote from one of my clients. And when we first started working together, and I have her permission to share this testimonial, she was in an unhealthy relationship that wasn't working for her. She was working in a job that she didn't enjoy, and her lifestyle wasn't what she wanted. She wasn't living where she wanted to live. She wasn't doing the things that she wanted to do. And those are 3 of the 6 domains that we talk about in my life coaching, right? And so we did some work together, and she was very committed, and she wasn't just interested in this. She was very committed in a very short period of time. She worked on the relationship issues, which unfortunately did end with her leaving. She ended up buying a new house. She ended up getting a new job. And within a very short period of time, because she was so committed to that action, she got herself free of what was holding her back. And that's very unique for everybody, but it can happen, right? So once you've identified around the burnout piece, and again, this is a lot, so this is just an awareness piece for you. You want to be able to then have the clarity to unlock your creativity and your vision and what your purpose might really be. And it doesn't lose what is happening is you're losing sight of what really matters to you. And it's not the opposite of burnout. The opposite of burnout is purpose, excuse me. So when you have purpose, you can't be burnout. You're going to feel a little bit more energized about doing that. And so this section is really about how do we get to that point so that we could actually live our purpose. So why purpose matters, and that's it's actually one of the you're never, I like this quote actually, yeah. You're never too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream. And I say that most of my clients are in midlife. Just so you know, if you aren't aware, there's a revolution going on the Modern Elder Academy, where we're really looking at how do we continue to contribute and be wise and share and grow and learn and do things. But those are the kinds of things that we're talking about here, is that you're going to continue to learn and grow your whole life, and you want to be able to have tools, and you can learn these tools for sure. So purpose, the other thing that I heard that was really great is that purpose, excuse me, purpose is your car that you drive where you go, but passion is your fuel, right? But it's not a job title, and you really want to be aligned to what matters most with you, excuse me. When you live with purpose, you don't just feel better, you actually live longer. When I was talking about the fixed mindset, if you can shift a fixed mindset to a growth mindset, it's actually proven that you add 7 years to your life. Man. Sorry about that, you guys. So if we were to visualize, I want you to close your eyes for a minute. We've already talked a little bit about stressors. We've talked a little bit about maybe what you're experiencing with burnout. So we're recognizing that it's a consideration or a circumstance in your life. But take a deep breath right now. Just close your eyes and tell me, you could wave a magic wand, what does an energized, fulfilled, fully aligned life look like with you? Where you wake up energized and you go to sleep feeling ready to rest and looking forward to the next day. What does that reality look like for you? Does anybody feel like they want to share? If it's different than what you've got going on right now, I got to move everybody's vision so I can see that. Thank you for closing your eyes. That's great. What might it look like? No obligation. You don't have to share if it's too private, but
Mine just looks like having a lot more or more. I'm working on this right now, and I'm making progress on this, I should say. Um like habits that support my health and wellness, because it's really easy. I'm really passionate and deep in my purpose right now, so it's really easy for me to just like, I feel like I have endless fuel in my car where I'm just like going. But one of my biggest things I've noticed is that like it's really easy for me to put my physical like health and well-being on the back burner. So that's what came to my mind originally. It's like, waking up and having more time blocked out to take care of myself. And that would also involve having I really love what you said about like the saboteur of the perfectionist. Like, how can I get this done without me doing it? So, delegating more, having more systems that support me having more space for myself.
Health, I mean, I'll just say it. I mean, working on this presentation, I'll be fully transparent. I decided I wanted to walk more. I got this little funny app called Walk Fit. I walked every day from January 8th until 2 days ago. I was on my way to 60 days in a row. And then I got caught up in doing the presentation, and then all of a sudden and that's that's procrastination on my part. Had I planned that out a little bit better, I might not have had that collision course, if you will, right? So I'm going to start again. But what I think is really key here is that health is really the only one that should matter. Because as I learned with my husband, if you don't have your health, nothing else matters. And they say that when you have your health, you have 10,000 dreams. If you don't have your health, you have one dream. And we very closely know that we have a NAWBO member that's dealing with a health crisis. It can happen anytime. I have friends, they're getting we're all one phone call away from having this presentation, as much as I love presenting to you or whatever you are working on, Olivia, not matter anymore. It will not matter anymore. So you have to put your health first. And we're going to talk a little bit more about knowing what your values are. This whole thing here is burnout doesn't have a place if you know what your alignment is around that. And health needs to be preserved as that one thing that you're going to make a non-negotiable. You're going to make a non-negotiable. That would be my request, is that you do that. So let's look at, I keep moving my mouse, so I keep it. So I love this graphic. It doesn't really fit with this presentation, but I loved what that looks like to me. And we do have to change things sometimes, and we have to get really resilient about changing them. That's what life is about. I mean, seasons change, the night to day, that whole thing changes all the time. So imagine that this is you, and now you've talked, Olivia shared very candidly about, health, and I'll say the same thing, making health a priority. What else? Does anybody have anything else they want to declare that they might want to change? Okay. Well, just know that it's normal to want to change, and burnout only happens when we live out of alignment with our deepest values and our deepest desires. And hopefully I didn't cut out the values piece, but I have a really quick free assessment where you can very easily go in and tap in and get your 5 values and have them out and visible to you. And you want to use that as a choice filter. Is what I'm being asked to do aligned with my values? Or whatever your goals are, aligned with those values, right? So that's the big part. The other, I mean, I've done other things before too. You can go out to 5 of your friends and ask them to identify 5 qualities that they see in yourself, so that you now have 25 to pick from, and you can choose what are your top 5 values in that regard, right? So just know that you want to be present to what your values are so that you can use them as a guidepost. That's what they are. They're the compass. So let's just use one of the questions here so that I can keep moving on. What drives you and what matters most in your life? Let's just stick with that question. So give that one a little bit of thought. For some, it could be freedom. For some, it could be family. For some, it might be health. But those are just some. Anything come to mind for everybody? So then the question would be, how can you bring more of that value or your values to your daily work? Because it doesn't really work when we look at it separately, right? And maybe that's what you were thinking, my health is separate from my work, rather than my health is part of my work. I can't do my work without my health. So if we integrated them a little bit more, maybe that would make it easier. I'm doing my walking because it's going to make me more present for my clients, right? So you align them together like that. Now you're not going to get cues like that at work, but now we're all business owners, so we get to decide what we're going to do with that, right? And I think it's really key because some of our coworkers, they are running big companies with a lot of people, or maybe they're running HR organizations or staffing organizations. This burnout and well-being condition is huge right now. And burnout is now being identified as an actual illness. It's a cause, right? You can actually have depression and anxiety symptoms and burnout as a result of it. Just a couple of other stats here. 23% of employees feel burned out at work, and 41% reported feeling burned out sometimes. That's like 75% of the people, right? The bigger one was $300 billion per year are spent on workplace stress, absenteeism, turnover, and negative productivity. So it doesn't serve us to not have well-being officers or people in charge of well-being along with physical health, right? Because it is going to have physical manifestations for sure. So let's see here. So now the next part of my key was how to achieve balance. And, we've now understood a little bit more about how burnout affects not having clarity and connection with purpose, right? And now we're going to look at how do you achieve balance. And it's a misnomer. They used to juggle the balls, keep them all in the air, prevent them from dropping, whatever it is. But it's that whole hustle culture. What if you didn't juggle the balls? And so I think what's interesting, is that they can tell you that something is out of whack. Like all of these, if they're not doing what you want them to do, are going to explain to you that something is out of kilter, and it might be a need for a change, I guess is what I'm saying. So balance is not 50-50. Balance is about alignment, and it's looking at your energy, your priorities, your fulfillment, and not just your time. You have to look at all of it. And that's why I have to look at an integrated whole life. Like, I'll be honest with you, I would probably have more clients if I was just a business coach or if I was just this. I believe the life coach is the foundation for how we get all of it done, right? And then when your actions match your values, that's when you create true balance. So if you're looking at why do I feel so bad, it might be an incongruence between how you're spending your time and what your actions are and what you really want them to be. I mean, that's what drives a lot of, some people, unfortunately, maybe we know many of them are out of work right now, and that wasn't a choice of theirs, right? But some people are in jobs that they're in because they're afraid to leave or afraid to go someplace else. And that misalignment is going to have this chronic effect of possibly causing, some burnout for sure. So how many of you have ever felt that balance wasn't possible? Okay. Has there ever been a time in your life where balance was possible? Okay. Well, I think it is achievable, but it's going to take something, and it takes learning and doing and being differently than we are right now. And that's going to take something. So, but just know that when your actions are in alignment with your values, and then you feel energized rather than depleted, you're going to be able to present all of the areas of your gifts in balance is the way that it is. So it's tied to not letting burnout take over, knowing what your purpose is, and then really striving on a day-to-day basis to find balance that's good for you, whatever that is for you. So a couple of actionable strategies that you've probably heard, and when I mention these, I'm not telling you anything new. I'm just saying that it's going to take something to change behavior in these areas. The number one culprit is going to be setting boundaries. You have to say no, because saying no is a yes to you, right? When you say yes to somebody that's not, or something that you don't want to do, you're saying no to yourself, right? And I think I use a tool called a choice filter. And the choice filter basically allows you to say, what are my values? Does this align with my values? Does it contribute to my current priorities and goals? Will it energize or deplete me? And am I saying yes out of obligation or fear? And do I have the capacity? Do I have the time and energy and resource to do this well? If you don't want to feel guilty about saying no. Now, there's a way to say no. We call it the no sandwich or the power of the positive no. You say yes, no, yes. Maybe you've had to do that at work with clients and something like that. The client I just had this morning, we talked about it. Just say, I really appreciate your feedback. I really appreciate what you've shared with me. I'm really not comfortable having a further conversation on this, and maybe we'll talk about this at another time. Yes, no, yes. Just get it so that you can get it off your plate. Don't say yes to a meeting. Oh, I'd really like to sit down and get to know you a little bit better. I love what you do. Vet that. Everything that you say, every time you put something on your to-do list, you're saying yes to something. Does it even need to be on your to-do list? Because I'll tell you, I'm a hyperachiever, and if it's on my to-do list, I'm going to find a way to get it done. But maybe it didn't even need to be on there. I mean, these are just a snippet of little things. But self-care is big. So the walks were real big for me. Getting the water in, making sure you're getting enough sleep. Maybe it's going and getting a facial or taking some downtime. It could be going to a movie with a friend. For me, it's playing golf. I mean, I almost backed out one time. I said, no, I want to be out in the sun. It's a beautiful day, whatever that is for me, but it's whatever it is for you as well. And then align your time with your values. That's a tough one because we have all these other pressures and stuff like that, right? So which one do you think is the one that you would want to, that resonates with you most? I'll take a comment, or we can do a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to say for me, it's 2.
Yeah, too.
2. Okay. Well, and I'm not going to tell you, I mean, I work with women for a reason. I think we tend to we think that's selfish if we take care of ourselves. All right. So what's one small shift that you could make to create more balance? And that could be more self-care, right? To help you feel better about it. Just write it down, share it in the chat. Or you can just share it out loud if you want. 1, 2, or 3. What is it that you might do? I'm getting back to my walking. So this morning I woke up. Before I did anything else, I got 3,500 steps. That's because this increased. This got more difficult, right? So the challenge I had is it's 7,500 steps a day. That might not seem like a lot, but it takes me about an hour to do that. That's a little. If I've left 7,000 steps at 9 o'clock at night, I have a hard time getting that done. But I can break it into 2 pieces. I can go for a walk for lunch. I can add it, make it cumulative, right? So it's just got to break it down and make it happen. So is there something that anybody sees as a small shift that you might be able to make? I made mine. I'm walking more.
Yeah, I wrote in the chat just taking like a true lunch break or just a break some days to either walk my dogs or make myself lunch or even just like unplug and not do anything productive for just a few minutes, even though obviously like rest is productive. But yeah, just giving myself more breaks.
Great. And I think putting breaks, lunch breaks on your calendar as a meeting, like you owe it to yourself, right? It's one of the reasons I enjoyed Orange Theory or working with a trainer or a golf coach or whatever, because you have to have an appointment on your calendar, but we need to make appointments on our calendar to ourselves non-negotiable. And the way non-negotiable was described to me, I don't have my own children, but maybe, I think, Jennifer, did you say you have a child? Did you say? Yeah. A non-negotiable is not picking your child up at school. You would never not do that. That's how you need to treat this lunch break, right? If you can visualize a child doesn't want to be picked up last at school or not be picked up at all, you have to now you can't have a million non-negotiables, but you can have a handful of them. And I ask that you have one for you, okay? And again, balance isn't something you wait for. It's something that you have to create. And that just brings me to my final thought. So let's get to this. So, you want to remember that balance is a process. It's a journey. It's not a destination. And you want to keep making small intentional choices over time. And now it's like it's 28 days to a new habit, but it doesn't stick for another 60 or 90 days. So you have to start small, because if you make it too big and you don't do it, you're reinforcing in your brain you're not somebody that can do what you say you're going to do. So I work a lot with my client. What are you grateful for? Gratitude and scarcity and fear cannot exist in the same conversation. So if you're dealing with gratitude and you're just, even the smallest, thing of feeling grateful. I went for a walk today. I didn't get 7,500, but I got 2,500, whatever it is. I moved today. And I know that sounds small, but since COVID, it's very easy for me to stay in my apartment and maybe barely get 1,000 steps just walking around. You got to get going. You got to break these old habits that are no longer healthy and no longer helping us. And we can do that. We can do that, but it's going to take something. So let me just summarize real quick, because I want to leave you guys some time. We're recognizing and stepping out of burnout. We're discovering and aligning with a purpose, something that really lights us up, that we get a lot of energy. And you want to remember, those are two sources of what purpose could be. What's giving you energy as opposed to depleting energy. So use that as a thermometer, if you will. And then implementing some balanced strategies for fulfillment, and not a lot. And start with one thing, start with something small, right? All right, so the next thing is, getting in action. So interested and committed goes to the theory around this non-negotiable thing. Are you interested or are you committed to making a change? Change is going to take something. It's not going to be easy, right? And you probably tried a lot of things and not finished them or whatever. And I'm in the same category, right? But being committed means you're going to do it no matter what. So one of my coaches, my former coaches, Michael Burnout, calls it mind over mattress. So if you're somebody that, I'll use a training example, you're somebody that wants to run a 5K or maybe a marathon or whatever, right? You've set out your workout gear, you wake up and it's raining, you hit the snooze button. That's an interested person. A committed person is going to get up, put their rain gear on, and go out and run anyway. Again, you can't do this for 100 things, but you can certainly do it for one. You've got to have a non-negotiable, and you've got to be committed about some things. And if you're not committed, don't say you are, or kind of put a half-assed effort into doing it, because you're really only interested in doing it, right? You're not really committed. So anyway, this has been an incredible talk. As I mentioned, there's a lot here, and it is, I do believe, one of the root causes of things that cause us to not have a life that we want, right? And so as we wrap up and talk, move beyond burnout, and I've already just recapped the keys, I just want you to know that a small change can make a change in your life, can make big changes. And so unlocking these isn't just possible, it's truly a fulfilling, joyful, essential part of that life, right? So if you're ready to have another conversation around this, I'm offering a burnout breakthrough session. It's completely complimentary. It's 45 minutes. We'll do it via Zoom. We basically go through what the burnout sources might look like for you. We get clarity about what those are. We identify where the impasse is, and we develop a mini plan for you that might get you moving forward in one. I'm going to tell you everything: perfect practice, perfect play. Every time you do it, you're going to get a little bit better and a little bit better. So it's a 45-minute Zoom call, completely free. You'll get a chance to have an action plan on something that you want. It could be any area of your life. It could be health, work, wealth, relationship, lifestyle, or play. It can be any area. And we'll just talk about it. Get to know each other a little bit better. And it's just the first step to rejuvenating passion and energy and getting past burnout. So I would say I'd encourage you and invite you to book a session, and you can use this QR code to do that. Again, it's just an easy way to get some clarity, get some direction, and get some actionable insights. And I'd love an opportunity to get to know you. So let me do this. That's the QR code. I'm gonna go do a couple things here. I gotta find. I can't do it. I'm gonna have to email you guys. So I've written your names down. Love for you to book a call. One thing, if you know of anybody that might be interested in this talk, I'm doing it again next Wednesday. So there's registration information I can share. And I'll just give you my contact information. So, the wrong way. Nope, there it is. Right. So you can check out my website. I do offer a complimentary coaching session. It's similar to this, but this is going to be strictly about this topic. And then I'm primarily on Facebook and LinkedIn, but I'm also on Instagram. So just really appreciate the time. I'm going to give you a little bit more time. Is there anything anybody wants to go back over? Anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I think that was so great. Thank you, Tara. And I really appreciate what you shared about health. Obviously, that's one of my goals, and just sharing your own perspective on it. And, even what you just said about it can start with gratitude, and even just the gratitude of like, oh, I'm grateful I went on a walk today. That's something that has really shifted for me over the past few years. I had one of my best friends who is the same age as me, like literally 3 days apart. She was a college athlete, like one of the healthiest people I've known my entire life, went through cancer a few years ago, and it was like totally shocking, not anything anyone expected. She went through several other like health things at the same time, and thankfully she's healthy now and wonderful. But it just really, you sharing that really reminded me of how simple just being thankful for our health is, just starting with like, wow, I'm really grateful I can move my body today. I'm really grateful it's easy for me to breathe right now, or it's easy for me to walk right now, or because not everybody has that opportunity. So I really appreciate you sharing that. That was a great perspective to remind myself of.
And I really do believe that, it's whatever works for you, buying a journal and journaling every day, maybe that doesn't work for you. Maybe talking into your phone could work for you. The reflective quiet time, some kind of meditative state where you get some kind of a download, that's where the answer comes from, like what's needed right now, right? What's really needed right now. So I really want to thank you guys for showing up, for yourself, for being here. Continue to participate in NAWBO. I think we're all 6 degrees of separation from the solution that we're looking for in any area of our life. It's a great group of people. And then I always say this isn't a dress rehearsal. This is the show. So stand up, show up, maybe be messy. Don't worry about falling down. That's one of the things that's so tough about burnout, is that you have to be resilient. You have to be, especially as business owners, you have to be willing to fall forward. You have to be willing to be less than perfect, or nothing's gonna get done. And so that requires a really strong constitution and a really strong set of skills. And if you're allowing yourself to tolerate burnout, you're not going to be able to even get yourself out of that wet paper bag. It's just not going to work for you, and it's not going to work over time. So just thank you again. I appreciate the opportunity. Thanks for reaching out to me and asking. Take action. Again, whatever you need on your own. Don't consider the burnout breakthrough session. Stay connected with me. I'll see you guys at OWL if you're going to be there. Happy to talk to you about this again. And let's just get that out of there. I see that we did have a little bit of action in the chat. So I'll take any feedback if anybody cares to share that afterwards as well. So there's just so much that you could unpack in this. And it's, I work with, I don't have a big need to work with a lot of different people. I work privately. It's not a group cookie cutter thing. It's tailored for every individual person. I work in all sectors. I work all different levels. I think we all have our own level of executivity, no matter what that is. And we're all just trying to be CEOs of our own life. So what is it that we can do to help each other and to, it's gonna always have learning and growing as part of it, or we wouldn't be here. The other people that aren't learning and growing are someplace else, but they're not here. So we're always looking for a way to make it better. And I just think that there's tools and there's people that have some experience. And I think the other thing that's that's keen on this midlife or midlife evolution that's going on right now is the notion that we want to be not only wise, but remain curious, right? So we all have our own acquired expertise and we're continuing to learn and grow, but we've got to stay curious about, well, why is it that way? Or, is there a better way to do it? And you can only do that on the right side of your brain. You can't do that from a habit place. You've got to get someplace newly to do that. Okay. All right. Any questions? Got just a couple more minutes and we'll be on time. All right.
Questions from me, but I just want to thank you so much for sharing not only your expertise, but just a little lunchtime motivation and a lot of great reminders or new perspectives for us. It's always it's always awesome to just be around other inspiring women who are running their businesses and facing the same maybe struggles or challenges that I am. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to share this with us. Thank you to everybody who joined today. I hope that you got some good gold nuggets and some wisdom out of this, or at least maybe some inspiration to make small changes. And as Tara mentioned, we have the OWL Awards this Saturday night. So if you have your ticket already, I hope that I get to see you there. And if you are going, please come say hi. I know you said you'll be there, so I'll get to say hi to you in person too. And and that's part of what NAWBO is about too, right? Is yes, we're learning, we're connecting virtually, but those in-person connections, seeing the same people over and over again, being able to say oh yeah, I loved this part about your talk, or since Wednesday, I started doing this differently is really powerful. And then our next in-person, after OWL, our next in-person event will be on Thursday, March 27th at one of our members' businesses. It's called Starkiv Beauty. They're estheticians and it's in Citrus Heights, I believe. And so it'll be an opportunity to network. It'll be very casual. And those are open to everybody, of course, but also it's great to see our members there. So, and then our next Lunch and Learn will be the first Wednesday of next month.
The name of it again? I'm sorry.
It's called Starkiv, STARKIV, I believe. Yeah, and there's kind of a placeholder event on our website right now, but more information about that will be going up shortly. So yeah, and you can also save the date. We're planning, just kind of in alignment with this topic today, we're planning a Women's Wellness Day retreat for NAWBO. It's going to be Sunday, April 6th, and tickets for that should be going on sale soon. If you're a NAWBO member, you'll get a very significant discount. And that'll be from, I believe, 10 to 4:30 at the Rising Zone in Rockland. So if you haven't been to the Rising Zone, it's a really cool spot. She's a NAWBO member. She blends co-working with wellness. So we'll be having some wellness activities throughout the day, also some speakers, and definitely opportunities to connect, and not just connect oh, hey, like a normal networking event. We're going to be kind of facilitating a little bit deeper connection with other women as well. So that will be Sunday, April 6th. And we've got lots of fun events coming up between now and then and beyond. So we hope to see you there.
Remind me again about the next Goddess Night Out. When was that?
Oh, I'm happy to. Yeah, the next Goddess Night Out is on Friday, March 14th for the Virgo lunar eclipse. So it will be the whole so we always have a different workshop, a different DJ, and a different closing sound bath. And seeing as this one's around an eclipse, it's going to be a little more intense than normal, maybe like our DJ set, where there's going to be a lot of bass in the DJ set, because eclipses are intense. There's a lot of, this is a great time to make changes or just to ride the wave of change if changes are already happening for you. So the workshop beforehand will be an embodiment workshop all about embodying the eclipse. And a lunar eclipse, at least, is when the shadow of the earth gets cast on the moon and it turns red. So we're going to be playing a lot with darkness and light. We're going to be playing a lot with our own shadows, and just how, it's a little bit like if you've ever heard of parts work or IFS therapy. I'm not a therapist, but I really love to, in embodiment workshops, be able to play with these different parts of ourselves that live within us and let them come out and be expressed and see how they want to move. So that'll be the workshop, and then we'll go into our 90-minute free dance with our resident DJ, my business partner, who will also be DJing this Saturday night at Owl. There'll be a dance party at the end of the night. So very different DJ set there. That'll be more like fun women's empowerment dancing, but you'll get to meet her if you've never met Jenna before. And yeah, she will also be sharing our closing sound bath. She has a beautiful voice, and so she often sings during her sound baths too.
Quick question. I know everybody went, oh, we got a little guest. At Propel last year, I had a tarot card reading from somebody, and I thought it was somebody from Goddess Night Out. Was that you, or was that your partner, or was it somebody?
It was another woman in our community, yeah. So sometimes she'll offer tarot readings, but we always have different tarot readers at our events as well. So she's someone we've worked with before, but we'll have a different tarot reader at the event on the 14th, and other women-owned businesses as vendors. We have someone coming and offering henna as well. So I'm happy to send you her contact though, if you're looking for specifically a reading from her again.
Stepdaughter wanted to get a tarot card reading, so I was just looking to a way to gift it to her.
Oh yeah, I know tons of tarot readers in the Sacramento area. I'm happy to recommend someone.
Okay, very good.
Yeah. Well,
Guys, take care. See you guys. Have a good rest of the week.
you too. Nice to see you,
Thank you.
Jennifer.